Social media. It exists and is here to stay. Look around at your peers or people on the bus, train, and public spaces. Everyone is on their phones. Everyone is addicted to social media. Social media has captivated our attention and is dominating our time. Social media, like most technologies, was created with good intent. In this case, with the goal of connecting people. For the most part, it appears to have done just that, granting us instant access to all the people in our lives and having a constant stream of updates from our peers. Even though it seems to have achieved what it set out to do, recent studies have shown a decline in mental health in teenagers and young adults, beginning at the same time as the widespread adoption of social media around the early 2010s. Testimony in the United States Senate discussed the correlation factor between extended social media use in teenagers and mental illness to be in the ballpark of 0.15. For reference, the correlation between lead consumption and lower IQ is only 0.11. Supporting these findings, trends from the United States National Survey on Drug Use and Health found that rates of major depressive episodes in teenagers has roughly doubled between 2010 and 2020. As it stands, social media is not doing anyone any favors, and we are left with a question of what to do next. The most common suggestion on social media is simply, don't use social media. But this is a fundamentally fairly flawed concept, and Marshal McLuhan agrees in his book, Understanding Media, the Extensions of Man, where he discusses how a new technology never changes a single aspect of the society, but rather a new technology changes the whole of a society and cannot be undone. This is fundamental in understanding how technology and society interact and how the act of creating a new technology is a one-way path. A new technology may be created to replace an old technology, but its technology will never be truly removed from a society after it is introduced. The idea that someone can simply abstain from social media implies a total rejection of society. It's not a simple ask, and we cannot expect society as a whole to perform this task. Therefore, there is an obligation for scientists, engineers, and social media companies to develop a method of integrating social media into society in a way that does not harm its users in such a significant way. So how do we do this? How do we integrate social media in a way that does not harm people? One idea starts by looking at the theories of Abraham Maslow. Maslow presents a simple theory of motivation, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and is often presented as a triangle, showing how people start with addressing their fundamental physical needs, followed by social needs, and finally the needs of the self. Looking at the Maslow's hierarchy, we notice a few things. The first thing is that wants and needs are not the same. Many people want things, but needs are ultimately what drive the inner health and being of a person. The second is that countless technologies have been developed to satisfy the physical aspects of the hierarchy, because we have spent the last couple thousand years of human development focusing on surviving to the next day, while social media is a large leap into the unexplored frontier of social technology that we don't really have a lot of experience with. The human mind is wired to generate wants as a method of satisfying underlying needs. The prime example of this is the hunger sensation, which drives us to consume the nutrition needed to support and maintain a healthy body. In nature, this is an effective way to ensure that needs are satisfied. However, modern technologies often focus on the satisfaction of wants, without considering any underlying needs. This can result in grave consequences. As an example of addressing wants and not needs, in the early 1920s, a disease known as Pellagra broke out in the southern United States. This disease seemed to come out of nowhere, but after an enormous amount of research, the cause for the sickness was narrowed down to the diet of the average southern farmer. At the time, this diet consisted of cornmeal-based foods, molasses, and preserved vegetables. Meat was noticeably absent from this diet, as the southern fields had been dedicated to cotton production rather than the production of livestock. Pellagra was a disease of deficit, caused by foods that satisfied the want for food but not the need for nutrition. Eventually, we discovered the compound those southern farmers were lacking, and it is now known as vitamin B3, or niacin, and is added to many foods today to enrich them and prevent this disease. Therefore, the solution to the social media problem must lie in finding a method to enrich social media in a way that provides psychological nourishment, in the same way that foods are enriched with the vitamins required for human nourishment. By doing this, social media can finally address the needs of social interaction and not simply the wants. While more research is obviously needed, this may provide a path for scientists and social media companies to reverse the rising mental health crisis that faces us today.